Hi, I'm Miss Hearn. Let's get started. So those are the library of functions. Now let's talk about what we're going to do to them. So I picked one of the functions. You're always going to be looking at a parent function, right? A function that you start with. In this case, I'm talking about the parent function f of x equals the square root of x. And then you're going to perform operations on that function, and we want to know what effect that has on the graph of the function. What I want to talk about right now is the difference between operations that affect the x coordinates of the key points versus operations that affect the y coordinates of the key points. Basically, if you add, subtract, multiply, or divide the x variable, which is in this case very clearly inside of the square root, you're going to change your x coordinates. I'll show you what that effect is in a minute, but right now I just want you to get the idea that this is going to have an effect on x. On the other hand, if I add or subtract outside that square root symbol, what is it affecting? Remember, f of x is just y, right? So what is this function saying? Y is always equal to the square root of x. So if I add 2 to the square root of x, I'm adding 2 to y. It's affecting y when it's outside the square root. It doesn't matter if it's adding, subtracting, multiplying. In fact, this is like dividing. When you multiply 1/2 times x, that's like dividing x by 2, right? Okay, another thing you can do besides adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing is negating. If you negate inside the radical, it affects the x coordinates. If you negate outside the radical, it affects the y coordinates. If it's inside the radical, inside the original parent function, it's going to move that x coordinate around. If it's outside, it's going to move that y coordinate around in some way. That's going to differ depending on what the operation is. The key points are going to be the ones that I want you to move. There are an infinite number of points on all of these graphs, but in order for me to see that you moved it the right way, I'm going to be looking at those 3 key points. So it's going to be real important that you label them. So the first type we're going to look at is a vertical shift. A vertical shift. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please remember to like it.